Cathy Cress again, and I am back with my YouTube channel, Geriatric Care 1, and we are doing death and dying, and this is the third segment. And we're going to talk about the care manager's role in the 5 stages of death. Because basically what you are as a care manager, whether in death and dying or any part of your work, is you're a navigator. And so you're navigating through the continuum of care. In this case, you're navigating the dying client through the 5 stages of death, and there are 5 stages. And you're doing this many times before palliative care and hospice ever get there. So it is critical that you be there to sort of go through these stages and be able to introduce those services, because lots of times people still don't know about it or are afraid of it. Most people use hospice in the last month. So not just hospice, but all the services you need to sort of, bring people through these 5 stages. And the care manager does navigate through these 5 stages, and just in a nutshell, this is 3 minutes, before the diagnosis, the client's having symptoms, they don't know what it is, they're scared, but they don't have a diagnosis, and that's before the diagnosis. That's first stage. Second stage is the acute phase, when they've gone to the doctor and they know the diagnosis, and the diagnosis involves possible death. And so that's a highly anxious stage. The third stage is the chronic stage, and that's where the diagnosis is there and the treatment is going on, chemotherapy or whatever the treatment is, and that can be a long, drawn-out process. And the fourth stage is the recovery stage, where all the treatment is done, it's not worked, and they know they're going to die, and really accepting the next step in the path. And the last path is the terminal phase, and that's dying. So you really navigate through those, putting the appropriate services in the right stage of death. And that's what care management has to do with death and dying. And you are really a roadmap to death. And what do I mean by that? Well, I was just in Los Angeles staying with my daughter. I really don't know my way around. So I just took my phone, I plugged in the app that is the navigation app. I could see from the beginning of where I was going from Redondo to Venice exactly where the road. I knew the beginning and the end. I knew where I was. I knew I could get there if I just followed it, and it talked to me all the way through. It made me feel so good, especially on those freeways. So you are offering a roadmap through the stages of death, being able to give the whole trip, the overview of the trip to the client and the family, and explaining them the easiest way to navigate and how you can make it the richest way to have a good death. And this is, a really important thing that you do. And how do you do it? You offer the road, but you also offer a list of tasks. And that's really important. Okay, at this point, this is what you have to do. Set up a calendar, and that's in the very beginning. And I can do that for you, but this is what you need to do. And there's a whole list of tasks that go right along with each stage of death, so that you can, just map out, this is how you're going to drive through, you're going to get to this congested part in LA, of course you are, and this is why you might take this road or that road to avoid, but that's really helpful to establish that roadmap. And then monitoring and updating the plan. So once you've given them the roadmap, basically what you're doing is you monitor through all of the stages of death and dying that a care manager normally does in every case. And so because the disease progresses and the symptoms get more acute, and so you basically, monitor what you can do to change, the comfort level, and the patient still making their own decisions, and the family coming together, because everything will change. People say they're going to let the older person make the decisions, and then they're off making the decisions themselves again. And so, monitoring the whole time. And how do you do that? You monitor and you change your care plan, because your care plan changes through every stage of death. and create a new care plan. So I'll see you next time. Always go to my website, cathycress.com, and I have a whole new webinar series on death and dying that will be coming out soon, so check out the website.